I like that sentiment a lot. Let me know when you're done with The Teacher of Suffering. It's empathetic. We're also saying like everybody's got to go through their own thing. And when you're ready, it's going to be this beautiful, wonderful thing. I'd love to accompany you and be a friend, a mentor, and a guide to this other place. So I guess people do have to go through their dark night of the soul before they're ready to climb out.
If you want to be a hero, you have to go through the darkest night. You're going to have to go through isolation. You're going to have to live in a cave for a while. You're going to have people attack you and crucify you. I mean, this is the formula that the universe uses to create heroes. The more you keep digging, the more painful it's going to be. Surrender and enter the wilderness, and then ask yourself, how long do I need to be in here? And if you do that, you can grow yourself out of the wilderness. But there's only one way out of a hole, and that's to grow. So anytime that I've been in a hole, I have to increase my amount of growth to get out of it. What happens is people go into the wilderness and then they suffer from suffering. And this is an interesting distinction you got to be very careful about. And that creates a loop, and that loop reprograms you, and it actually shifts your state to more negativity in your life. And then you're going to stay in the wilderness even longer. So if you want to get out of the wilderness, if you want to get out of the hole, you got to stop suffering from suffering, and you got to start growing. And the faster you grow, the faster you're going to get to the other side of that adventure.
Let's go back in time a little bit. I understand that you became the CEO of a company called Visalis. And when I was a younger person, I was like, how does one become a CEO of a company? Is there a school you go to study where that's your job? I'm curious how you became the CEO.
My first entrepreneurial endeavor, I worked as an engineer at a company, and I convinced them to spin out a division of it that I was running at the time. And they agreed to do it, but they didn't agree to give me the title of CEO because I was too young and inexperienced. So they gave me the VP title, and I hated that. So I left that company and started Sky Pipeline. I bought it actually for $15,000. I raised venture capital, and then I expanded that into an entity and sold it in a $25 million deal when I was 24 years old. From there, the Visalis opportunity came my way. And I first joined as the chief strategy officer. And so I told my co-founders that I was going to become the CEO. And it taught me a lot, and I gained a lot as a result of that experience. You know, because I had been in a gang and I was a leader in the gang, so I had about 100 people working for me that you have to be very careful of. And every move you make has to be very calculated. And the characteristics that I had to develop and learn, the gap between being successful as a legal entrepreneur versus an illegal entrepreneur, was easy to learn. And as I went through this journey, you know, I'd sit there many times and hear these people talk, and I would just, you know, in my head, I was thinking about these people are very weak people, and they're not strong, and they don't know, you know, they might have the theory down, but they don't have the practice down. I had that deep confidence inside of me that I had a deep degree of street smarts and a high degree of survival skills that, you know, my opponents did not have.
When you shared that experience, it reminded me a little bit of something I heard Robert Kiyosaki say: bullets couldn't kill me. Wall Street's not going to kill me either. And you can survive this. You can survive anything. Do you think those experiences, those challenges that you had growing up made you who you are? And what did you learn from that?
They did make me who I am, but they've also contributed to characteristics that I've had to work hard on changing. I believe that some people are just born to do certain things, and I believe my soul came here to create through entrepreneurship. I have been an entrepreneur even when I was on the streets. I believe this is the craft that I came here to learn and to understand. And to be a CEO and an entrepreneur requires a high degree of responsibility. It's a lot of stress. It is very difficult, requires growth, requires you to scale as your business scales. There's just a lot in there when you choose to, you know, be a chief executive officer.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't get the opportunity to become a CEO or become one and do it poorly. So can you go into a little bit more about what does one have to do to be successful at it? Because you also mentioned the previous CEO, from your perspective, wasn't doing a very good job. What weren't they doing well?
As the CEO of Sky Pipeline, I got my ass kicked nonstop by my investors. They were some of the most professional, sophisticated investors, and I didn't know anything about, you know, financial reporting, analysis, presenting strategy, making your numbers, setting your numbers. I was green. I just knew that I was to be the CEO of something, and that I had that capacity within me, and that I had to develop it somehow, and there's no better way to learn than to do. And so that's what I did.